Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life and we are every day. People like to welcome you all to the show, reminding you all we're doing a grassroots effort of word of mouth. That's how we do it, word of mouth. We're not doing any big grandiose advertising campaign, and we're not how can I say pull something over on people. It is what it is. We do it strictly on universal laws, spirituality. It is what it is. We put it out there and move when the spirit hits you. Like when you were younger and you asked your grandmother, you gonna make your favorite so and so, or when you gonna do so and so, and they tell you, well, when the spirit hits me, that's when I do it. Because then it's on time and it'll be a smooth ride all the way. Now, for those of you who are not from Texas, didn't grow up in Texas, and you moved to Texas, you might find this state and in cities within the state, such as Dallas and Houston and Austin, San Antonio and Lubbock, and different parts of the city of the state, a little different. Let me explain to you why that is and why the people, especially black people in Texas, thinks a little differently. Because slavery in Texas was only for 20 years. 1845, 1645. And with those 20 years, the blacks that were native to Texas, a lot of them never even faced slavery. And the ones that did fought back for those 2 decades. That was it. They didn't go for it. Wasn't with it. Because we've always been free. Now, you may have had blacks who, a majority of slaves, blacks who were brought to Texas by slave owners who left where they were to come to Texas and brought the slaves with them. And we got to remember, when Texas was a part of Mexico, the Mexican government, for the most part, refused slavery. They had abolished their slavery years ago. No one wanted slavery in Texas. So the people who have been here and family members been here for generations have a different mindset. Nobody bothered. Why you think they call Houston one of the most diverse cities in America? It's because nobody bothers nobody. You can be as racist as you want to be, as long as you don't bother me, as long as you don't bother anybody else. You can be whatever you want to be in Texas, which is truly the place of the American dream, right here in Texas. You can build what you want to build. Because we wasn't operating out of a slave mind. Now, we may have allowed other ideologies to creep into the state, or let's say blacks who been through slavery and who had a slave mind come into Texas and try to put their ideas within this city in a sense of, we have to do this, we have to do that. And I can understand why you coming from that frame of mind because of what you've been through, right? But we who only been through a 20-year slave history, we fought a 20-year slave history fight. We didn't fight a 300, 400 year fight of slavery in Texas. We didn't have that fight. We had a 20-year fight. 20-year fight is different than going to a 400-year war. That's pretty much, that's 180 degrees on from left to right. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. So when you have people who visit Texas and say, "Why aren't y'all doing it this way or moving this way?" or something, like, what are you talking about? I go where I want to go, do what I want to do. Anybody comes up against me personally, then I'll handle that, because that's the way it's always been. So then we say, okay, well, how can you create a brotherhood out of that mindset? That seems to sound individualistic. Well, no, because anyone who seeks peace, we automatically is in a brotherhood. So it should read, I know it reads, how do you know you've passed from death to life? Because you learn to love the brotherhood. But it should read, how do you know that you've passed from death to life? Because you seek peace, and that creates the brotherhood. Now, when you seek peace, you know the opposite of peace or the adverse of peace. When you're seeking peace, you know the tone in which someone speaks. You know the words that they say. That it's not creating peace. The words is actually creating division, or it's weeding out. It's weeding out what you personally don't want and what you personally do want. And I'm talking across the board. I'm talking, how can I say? I'm talking worldwide. That's universal. That's universal law, is what I'm saying. If you want peace, then you come in the spirit of peace. If you don't want peace, then you come in the spirit of isolation. You come in the spirit of negativity, or you come in a selfish spirit. But when you want peace, the first thing you would do is, and especially dealing with a brotherhood, you seek for the God or the gift in the individual that can help create peace. And then the other part, you work on it, or we don't need that, and you shut it off. But because everybody has a gift, God gave everybody a gift. So the job is to reach in and elevate that gift. Bring that gift that person has up to the forefront, to a higher level. Because peace is not confined by one man's ideology, although one man can create the love for peace through an example. So when you all hear me say, Brother Farrakhan said this, Brother Farrakhan said that, because through his example and his tone and the right on timeness of the message, it leads to peace, which leads to love for a brotherhood. Anything opposite of that will create chaos. So when it comes to Texas is a different animal, if I use that, if I can use that term. One, due to the short slave history. Two, is due to it's spread out, landmass wise. And so you still have farms. You still have country living. So you get to see God's nature every day, especially if you live in the rural areas or country areas. Some call it the suburbs, but trust me, in Texas, it's country. It's a country. And in the country, in the open fields, you see the seasons. You see God's work. You see the beauty of God's work every day. And that puts your mind, you at peace. And you upset when you want to watch your garden grow, the food you plant, and you seeing it grow, and you seeing the buds come up, and you see the bees come pollinize the plants, and you see the fruit of your labor. You at peace. But then some situation occurs to where you have to leave your peace to get involved or to focus on something that could disturb your peace. So then you start analyzing what took place, what's the situation, what happened, what was this person doing, right? Now, they say, let's say two dudes get into it, man. Okay, they listened. Okay, y'all got it. They got into it. What happened? So-and-so pulled out a gun and shot so-and-so. He died. He went to prison. Now, they say, well, what was the fight over? Oh, well, so-and-so owed so-and-so some money behind some drugs. So-and-so found out that so-and-so jacked and robbed his vehicle. So-and-so found out that so-and-so hit his sister. So the person said, well, dealing with so-and-so and so-and-so, I told him a long time ago, your ways going to get you killed out here in these streets. Put the dope down, get you a job, be an entrepreneur, go to school, better your education, and build something for yourself. I looked him in his eye. I said, you understand? You got it? They shook their head. Yes, I got it. Okay, it's okay. All right. And that was the end of it. So we left that individual in peace. Now, if he goes and backslide, doing about face, and start selling drugs, or got back into, he broke a contract. You broke the agreement. If you got back into a life that someone gave you clear instructions and clear knowledge, then the consequences is what's coming next. Why you think I put the book out, Consequence, by Vince Cole Muhammad? Check it out. Great book. Great wisdom and insight. That's why. And we going about our business. Because we know that outside mindsets was flowing its way into Texas, who had a laid back, easy, the word was the law. Either you do this or you don't do it. And we go about our business and we enjoy life. We plant our gardens, our vegetables. We go shopping. We make money. We eat. Family reunions, bring friends over, have a good time laughing. That's the end of it. But and I'm not separating black people by cities. I'm separating black folks by slave masters. Even though you can say that whether it was a white slave master from New York and a white man in Texas who didn't have slaves, on some parts, they still thought the same. Meaning, they didn't give a damn about us whether they had a slave or didn't have a slave. Because we wasn't the same people anyway. We had different ideologies, had a mindset coming out of Europe. Our mindset was native right here. We saw and done things differently. They saw and did things differently. And there was a natural divide in a sense. But the thing was, what kept business flowing is it was business, and it was the fact that don't bother me, I don't bother you. If we can come into agreement with that, then everything was fine. But you cross over in my yard with some foolishness, I'ma deal with you. Just like if I crossed over in your yard with some foolishness. That's why we honor that. Don't tread on me, don't tread in my yard. That's Texas. But that's not, don't get it confused that ideology came from white people who migrated down here from Europe. No, that was the native mindset. That was a Muslim mindset. That was the Moors mindset. We know about Esteban Mustafa Zumora, who Moor named Arizona and New Mexico. Ship crashed in Galveston. He speaking Arabic. The natives were speaking Arabic. They understood each other. They started communicating. Because we were already here is the point I'm trying to make in Texas. So meaning we know a wooden nickel when we see a wooden nickel. Is what I'm saying. In Texas. So you can't you can't pull that small time stuff over on a native Texan. It's not happening. So when they try to say, well, black people in Texas or whatever, they Bamas. See, our problem was in Texas was we was fighting to try to be like the East Coast. We was fighting trying to be like California. I remember when rap first came out. That's why I give much respect to rap a lot though. Cause when rap was coming up and coming out of New York, and you hear Willie D say, New York is where this rap shit begins, so let this ego shit in. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? We gave props because we knew, but the Ghetto Boys wasn't trying to be R.I.P. Red Red, but the Ghetto Boys wasn't trying to be New York. The New York rapper. They was rapping Fifth Ward, H-Town rapping. But then as time passed, wait a minute, how you get Crips and Bloods in Texas? When I was coming up, okay, you had gangs, you had the Smurfs, you had the A-Leaf gangsters, the AGs, you had the Bad Boys, who was the first gangs in the city. But a lot of cats that were that was brought down here from other cities. That was their mindset. And like all things though in Texas, we'll try it, see what your flavor is, how y'all doing it. We try to do what was going on in other cities. Trying, and in the end we find out that's not us, man. That's not Texas. That's not who we are, not what we do. We're gonna do it this way. You know what I mean? So that's why when they say, oh well, you got Crips and gangs and whatever. Now, you can say the gang thing, the Hispanics, especially coming out of California, they always did the gang thing. Now, you saying blacks became Crips and Bloods to create a sense of unity or a bond, then, okay, yeah, we can see that. We can see that. But trust me, once we start killing each other over this gang thing, or someone saying, hey, you go do this. Now, there's always been strong minds in Texas. There's never been a follower mentality, meaning there's been a work together mentality in Texas. Let's work together, but I'm not going to do all the work. And you sit down and watch me do all the work. That's not Texas mentality. Texas mentality is, come on, let's roll. Let's go get it done. Then we gonna come back to the base, the fort, the place of refuge, the house. We gonna break bread, probably have a meal, and we go on about our way. Cause we got other things we got to tend to, as far as we got grass to cut. We got to water the garden. We got to take the cows out, make sure they fed, because we got to feed the cities in the small towns. We'll sit, man, let me ride this horse on right when the sun goes down. Let me feel this wind on me, and let me get a first hand of nature. See, because we natives, we been here, so we love nature. So that trying to create a concrete jungle or the city like you see in other places, that don't fly down here with black folk. Black folk that are native Texans love nature, and we learn to love the brotherhood through seeking peace and through God in nature. It's our way. Now, other mindsets might come and try to implement their mindset, but you have to realize what they've been through. And they're operating off of what they've seen and experienced. And there'll be a little friction until we learn how to unite the two mindsets through peace to get peace or to bring peace. You dig what I'm saying? And so, in conclusion, don't be so quick to judge or put your personal analogy on the biggest landmass state in America without understanding the mindset, the people, the culture. Camp Logan. Go back and research Camp Logan. Camp Logan is when the black soldiers marched up and down Houston Avenue and Washington Avenue and up in there and went to war because of the disrespect of a female. But it was more than that. It was a disrespect of a race, men, individuals who stood strong and who was proud of who they were and proud of their race. That this is not happening down here. But this was the early 1900s. It was 1914, 1912, 13, early. It was the early 1900s. Just research and look up Camp Logan and what all expired, what all is inspired, what all took place. Check that out. But for the most part, no. That's not it's not happening down here. You know why? Because the act that the white citizens were doing in Texas, they were disturbing and interrupting the peace. And we got to have peace in Texas. But you know why? Because greater than racism and white folks' prejudice and hatefulness against blacks by whites and police brutality, greater than that is the peace of nature that we enjoy looking at, being in, being a part of, and you come with some foolishness like racism and you take me away from my outdoor activity and my love of nature. Now I'm really mad. Black folks really get mad. Then we come like, hey man, you interrupting my harmony. You interrupting my peace. And then it's on. Verbal Pick Radio. We're out.